Hi, my name is Pia, and I'm the online editor for The Gateway. This is the first forum recap for 2021, recounting the events of the forum that occurred on February 22nd at noon. The Golden Bears and Pandas Legacy Fund faced tough questions at the Candidates Forum over the value their fee brings to students who aren't athletes. Forum Representative Samantha Chapman fielded a variety of questions over how the Legacy Fund benefits select group on campus, from international students to engineering students on co-op. To her credit, Chapman attempted to explain how the $4.64 fee contributed to campus culture, outlining how the fee funds some free games and free food at certain events, in addition to paying for the University of Alberta's mascots, Gooba and Patches.
That's a great question, and it's a really important part of actually the Legacy Fund itself. The Legacy Fund impacts non-athletes in so many ways, including work experience for kinesiology and nutrition level students, which is essentially like a lab experience where they actually get to work with athletes. Kin students work on athletes. Also, it provides free entertainment for students on campus, and international students get to experience that campus culture on a higher level. And it provides jobs for other students that are on campus and lowers commute time for students as a whole. There's like tons of job opportunities within it. It also helps kin and nutrition students get placed in the workforce post-graduation. Overall, it benefits non-student athletes as much, if not more, than it benefits student athletes.
Yet, when it comes to the value students receive from the fee during the COVID-19 pandemic, many of the Legacy Fund's core accomplishments fade away. Instead of paying for sporting initiatives, a substantial portion of the student fees are being held in trust, kept away in their reserve for future opportunities once the pandemic resides.
It is important to note that a lot of the money that was gathered this year was kept in trust for future opportunities. That being said, we still did have our student kinesiologists working with the teams because teams were still operating in the capacity they were able. Same thing goes with student nutritionists.
It's good to see that the Golden Bears and Pandas Legacy Fund discussed how the fund is being used outside varsity athletics. It helps fund practicum placements and jobs for kinesiology and nutrition students. Unlike previous years, the presidential race remained in the background throughout most of the forum, with few students asking Rowan Lee, the sole candidate for the position, any questions. However, one of the only questions Lee got asked raised an issue previously close to his heart, the hiring of a students' union protest planner. Yet the SU's financial situation prevented them from hiring this position. When the COVID-19 pandemic began in March, not only did it force students away from campus, but it dried up many of the fiscal resources of the SU. Previous revenue sources, such as their catering service, were forced to shut down. While we still haven't seen the SU budget, it's safe to say the fiscal outlook is worse than in previous years.
And also the long-term damage that COVID has done to the development of the catering business, as well as other arms of SU businesses, is not going to recover the moment that COVID stops.
In his response to the forum question, Lee says that he attempted to address the situation by having the Council of Albertan University Students hire a similar advocacy position. If the position there finds success, Lee asserts that the UASU may not even need to hire a position in the future. Otherwise, Lee says that the position will have to wait until the SU's financial situation improves.
As Vice President External, one of the ways I tried to get around this was to move forward with the process of hiring someone to do organizing through the Council of Alberta University Students, so that all of our members together can pool their resources and help pay for a position that serves that function when we're all going through financial struggles.
Regardless of whether or not the position is hired by Cause or the Students' Union, I find myself questioning if the position is necessary in the first place. After all, organizing protests is a core responsibility of the entire SU executive team, and we pay them amongst the highest salaries in the country compared to other SUs to complete these jobs. Should the SU be advocating for a protest planner when their positions should already have the job covered? Represented by current UASU Vice President Operations and Finance, Alana Cron, the referendum looking to renew the UPass was asked about what would happen if fall semester were to remain online. Cron said that a new part of the UPass will be that if students' courses are completely online, they will not have to pay for the UPass service.
So essentially, the UPass that we've known has been something that, it's a fee that all students pay, but there has been one key exemption that will be continuing on in this next UPass contract, which is that if a student has all of their classes completely online, then that student will not be levied the UPass fee. So of course, this is now suddenly very relevant to us during COVID, and it's something that we really want to make sure that students understand when they're going to vote.
Cron assured students as well that this renewal is about looking into the future and renewing the UPass agreement for 4 years. The two candidates for Vice President Operations and Finance presented similar ideas and didn't really differentiate themselves well enough when it came to most issues brought up at the forum. Both candidates for Vice President Operations and Finance presented similar ideas regarding sustainability concerns at the SU and the need to have better equity, inclusion, and diversity initiatives. Throughout the forum, the two candidates emphasized the need to have BIPOC accessible mental health resources and also ensure the SU does a better job outreaching to Augustana and Campus St. Jean about existing resources. Candidate Emily Kamani said she wanted to extend free menstrual products that were offered by the UASU prior to COVID-19 and sub to Augustana as well as Campus St. Jean to ensure the SU is providing services to all campuses.
I think this initiative is especially important now, moving towards equity, inclusivity, and diversity in the Students' Union.
Candidate Julia Veloso wants to create more resources for students and student groups to be able to know what services and supports are available to them. She said that she would focus on building a simple student scholarship registry, modernizing the current SU job registry, and create a student group resource handbook. Those ideas represented some of the two greatest differences between the two. Otherwise, both candidates iterated the need to optimize student businesses operated by the Students' Union. Both recognize the value of SUTV, a system of advertising that the SU monetizes by selling to other campuses across the country as a revenue generation tool.
But I plan to use SUTV and the student handbooks to optimize our businesses.
While this marketable solution has steadily generated more and more SU funds for the past few years, it is important to consider how many other campuses are purchasing such systems when their campuses remain focused primarily on online delivery. It's also key to remember that this isn't a new idea. It's been mentioned in prior use by candidates as a revenue generation tool as well. It's good to hear that neither of the candidates are in favor of increasing SU student fees.
Although post-secondary is taking a lot of financial hits this year, it's still important that we aren't turning to students to fill those gaps in funding.
I just hope that in future forums, candidates demonstrate ideas that may not already be in the SU wheelhouse, or talk about programs being expanded and being leveraged in status quo already. We want something new. Well, that's it for the forum recap. Make sure to keep it locked into the gateway for more elections coverage.